been over a year since my first bikepacking trip. I discovered amazing new places, and in this video I'm gonna share with you 10 things I wish I knew when I started bikepacking, so you can get on your bike ready for your next adventure. How to plan for your first bikepacking trip. My first bikepacking trip was rather improvised. I just took a GPS from a route I found online that followed the Eurovelo 8 to Spain. However, even if you take a route from someone else, I would still recommend you to plan your own route using one of the routing softwares available. I like to use Komoot and ride with GPS, and then compare the routes depending on the terrain, the distance, and places I want to visit. And I like to add multiple waypoints that makes navigation easier, and also points of interest, areas where to resupply or where to sleep might be useful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's a lot of bikepacking trips and new routes coming up. What bike to ride? Do I need a specific bike for bikepacking? If you have a bike, you are ready to go bikepacking. However, it's good to assess the kind of terrain you are planning to ride on, and also to have a functional bike that fits you. In my case, I like to use a gravel bike because it gives me the flexibility to ride in mixed terrain, and also it gives me enough tire clearance to mount more chunky tires if needed. What bike do you ride during your bikepacking trips? Leave a comment below. How much weight should I carry for bikepacking? Take the essentials, not the whole wardrobe. You might regret it on the first steep climb. Here is where the first tip comes in handy. Once you plan your route, you will have a better idea of the equipment you need and where the resupply points for water and food are.
Pain chocolat et croissant. Oui.
I always like to have at least a repair kit and a first aid kit, and on top some spare clothes, light, a power bank, and if you're planning to sleep outside, camping gear. How to carry your gear. There are many ways to carry your gear on a bike. You can use straps, dry bags, backpacks, bikepacking bags. In my case, I like to have a saddle bag or a tail fin rack, and also a top tube bag and a handlebar bag, which I find particularly useful because you can access them while riding, and a frame bag sometimes because you can easily store there things you want to have at hand, like your tools, a rain jacket, or sometimes a bladder. I like to have multiple bikepacking bags so I can compartmentalize my gear, which makes it easier to find things on the road and also to distribute weight evenly. What is a good bikepacking pace? How far can you ride in one day? That is up to you, your personal preference, and your level of fitness. But it's good to set a daily goal depending on the number of days and distance you are planning for your trip. It's good to take into consideration if you want to stop in a place or how many breaks you want to have. For example, I like to ride between 100 and 200 kilometers a day, depending on how I feel and the weather conditions, at a pace that I'm comfortable speaking with someone. What to eat on a bikepacking trip? Spending all day eating Snickers and candies can be tempting. However, it's good to have a nutrition strategy and be on top of it to avoid being depleted. During my first bikepacking trip, I didn't eat enough and I ended up bonking on the first climb. Since then, I try to carry enough food for the day and eat something at least every hour. Plan your sleeping strategy. It's good to have an idea when and where you want to sleep. If you decide to sleep outside, you might have to take with you camping gear, which will add additional weight to your kit. For those who prefer to stay in hotels and bed and breakfast, I would recommend not to stay in cities but in the countryside. I found during my bikepacking trips that normally they are more likely to let you take your bike into the room, or they might have a storage facility like a garden shack or maybe a garage where you can store your bike. Stay hydrated. During my first bikepacking trips, I didn't drink enough because I was not used to drinking that much water. So it's really important to be on top of your hydration. And if you go into a more remote area, carry enough water with you. And maybe consider something like a purification bottle so you can take water from an available water source like a mountain stream. If you are planning to go abroad to another country, it's good to check the country's cycling regulations. Sometimes things like lights, bells, helmets, where you can ride can change from one country to another, so it's good to be well informed. Test your equipment before a long trip. Things that might look good in paper might not turn out to be good in practice. I had this with bib shorts and shoes in the past, so now I test my equipment before a long bikepacking trip during short rides to make sure they are comfortable and functional. Don't forget the most important, have fun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button below. It really helps to support the channel. See you soon.